Good evening. My name is Brittany Jordan, and I serve as the Assistant Director in the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. Tameron is actually one of my students, serving on the National Panhellenic Exec Board, where I serve as the advisor. This year, she's had the opportunity to serve as president, and she has truly been such a joy to work with. Tameron is hardworking and she is super involved here at the Capstone. She works alongside Project Health. She serves the campus and giving tours to prospective students as a Capstone woman. Tameron also is very much so involved in her Greek organization. I believe that Tameron has such a bright future, and it is such a joy and honor and privilege to work with her and kind of be a part of her journey. Tameron's topic tonight is talking about wearing more than one hat and looking good in both. And that is truly what Tameron does on the daily and has done since she stepped foot on campus at the University of Alabama. I present to you Ms. Tameron Williams.
Miss Tameron Williams, and my revolutionary idea is that you can wear two hats at once and look good in both. So, hats. So I have a few photos of hats on the screen for y'all. So there's many different kinds of hats. We've got the classic baseball hat here in the middle. We've got a nice cowboy hat, maybe some hats you would wear to church, the infamous bucket hat. And I think we can all agree that if you were to wear any of these two hats at the same time in real life, you look pretty silly. People would probably have a lot of questions, maybe be giving you some funny looks. But I'm here to say that you actually do wear two hats at the same time in real life. And when I'm talking about hats, I'm not talking about literal hats. I'm talking about the different roles or identities that you might hold in your life. I believe there are two different types of hats. You have your permanent hats and your temporary hats. So a permanent hat is going to be something that you can't get rid of. No matter what you do, when people see you, this identity is on display. For me, that's being Black, being a woman, being a Christian, etc. No matter what I do, when you look at me, you're going to see I'm a Black woman. A temporary hat is going to be something that a role or identity that might change throughout your life. It's not permanent, or maybe it's something that, when people look at you, they just can't see that this would be something that, you're involved in or something about you. For me, some of my temporary hats on campus include being a Capstone woman. So this is me and some of my friends on Capstone. Being a resident advisor. This picture is me on move-in day. Do not let those smiles fool you. It was very hot and we were very tired. And being a member of an MPHC organization. And this is some of my sorority sisters and I. And so, since a young age, I've really struggled with the idea of, how do you balance, how do you wear these two hats at the same time? I grew up in a really small southern town, and from a young age, I was always super interested in school. I never made a B from kindergarten to 12th grade, and I was super involved. And, people used to literally tell me, Tameron, you are an Oreo. You are white on the inside, you're only Black on the outside. Like, you're so different than everyone else. There's no way you're Black because you do all these things. And so from a young age, I really started to question, okay, is there a way that I can be a Black woman and also be smart, be involved, have these different interests that other people might not have? And so hopefully by the end of this talk, you'll be able to see, just like I was able to see, you cannot trade a permanent hat for a temporary hat. No matter what I do, no matter what other temporary roles I step into, I'm always going to be a Black woman when I'm taking on these other roles. And so hopefully by the end of this talk, you'll be able to see that you can do the same thing that I was able to do. So a little intro of me. Once again, my name is Tameron. I am a biology pre-med major, and I'm a senior here at the Capstone from Pell City, Alabama. And a fun fact about me is that my name is a combination of my mom and my dad. So my mom's name is Tammy, my dad's name is Ron. Put them together and you get Tameron. These photos on the screen, this is just me and my family, and then a few selfies, Capstone woman Tameron. And then me and my friends at Houndstooth. This is on bingo night, and I must say, I am a self-proclaimed queen of bingo. So if you ever want to play bingo, hit me up when this Tide Talk is over. To kind of getting into this idea, I believe the idea that we cannot wear two hats at once comes from this idea of mutual exclusivity. So a mutually exclusive event is going to be when one thing occurs, the second event cannot happen if this first event has happened. A great example of this would be flipping a quarter. When you flip a quarter, you're going to get heads or you're going to get tails. There's no way that when you flip a quarter, it can land on heads and tails. This is not the case with people. We should be this and that, not this or that. We're not quarters. You can be two things at the same time. And I really, once again, more recently, kind of thinking about this idea on campus when I joined a group called Capstone Men and Women. So this group is traditionally made up of generally white students on campus. So when I came into this space, being a Black woman, I kind of had to decide, okay, Tameron, do you take this identity, these experiences into this room with you, or not? Because in my mind, in order to be a good capstone woman, I couldn't also be, a quote unquote good Black woman. I couldn't bring these experiences into this room because people that look like me typically were not found in this space. I didn't think that I could do both. And I felt as if I kind of had to hide my Black identity. This was not the case. And I did learn I can be a Black capstone woman. I can be both at the same time. And this is super important, I hope, for everyone on this call. And whether this is at school or in your life, you can be these different identities that might not typically be found in these spaces. So whether that's you're Black, you're a part of the LGBTQ community, or any other role that's maybe not, the majority, you can be in capstone men and women. You can be in SGA. You can be in Greek life. You can be in any space on campus or in life that these identities are not typically found in. So, Tamron, why is it important to rock both of these hats at the same time? Well, a few reasons. Number one, it's super important to expose people to identities that they normally wouldn't get to experience. For instance, for me on Capstone Men and Women this past summer, we all know of the racial injustices and the murders of all the innocent Black people throughout our country. And so this was a time where I decided, okay, Tamron, it's really important that you step into this role of being a Black woman and really embrace this. And me and the other Black members on the group decided that it was important that we embrace this and we have these conversations with other members on the group. So we got on Zoom, members all across the country, because, we had been sent home for COVID that year. And we discussed what was going on. We shared our experiences. We shared our stories. We had those difficult conversations. And that would not have been able to happen if us as Black members on the group were not comfortable kind of stepping into that space and really embracing, what we were going through. Talking, it made us sad. It made us frustrated. It made us upset. But because we were really able to embrace those identities, that allowed us to have those conversations on the group. And if we wouldn't have been comfortable doing that, the members on the group might have never been exposed to the experiences and the opinions and beliefs that, we had as Black students. It's also super important because representation matters. So on the left, I have my queen, Vice President Kamala Harris. I think we can all agree that when she won vice president, it was such an inspiration to Black and South Asian women all across the country to see someone that looked like them in a space that they had never been in before. And that's what you're doing when you are wearing your hat into these rooms that they're not normally in. When you're a part of these groups, people that, want to be a part of these groups or that look like you, hold the same identities as you, are able to see you and hopefully imagine themselves in these roles in the future. And hopefully also you're going to be making it easier for these people to, walk the same path that you did. And hopefully they won't have to overcome so many barriers that you did. When I joined Capstone Men and Women, that very next year, we elected our very first Black president. And he really embraced that. He embraced being the first Black president. And y'all, it was amazing. The next year, we had the most amount of Black students ever try out for the group and the most diverse group of Capstone Men and Women that we ever had. And I truly believe that was because, all of the Black members on the group, plus having, a Black president being represented, so many students on campus got to see that and see that, hey, this is possible for me. I can do the same thing that these other students are doing. And, while we were on the group, we were advocating for there to be more diversity, for there to be, different types of students on these groups. And because of that, I truly believe that's the reason why we ended up with the group that we do have today. So, like I said, it's just so important, for people that look like you, have these same identities as you, to kind of picture themselves in these spaces. So, Tamron, you've explained a hat to us. You've told us why wearing these hats are important. How do you actually go about wearing both of these hats at the same time? It's going to take three things. You're going to need love, you're going to need boldness, and you're going to need courage. So first things first is love. When you look in the mirror every day, whatever is staring back at you, you've got to love that person. You've got to love all of the identities, all of the roles that go along with that. So, when I look in the mirror every day, I see a Black woman staring back at me, and I've got to love everything about that. The skin tone, the curly hair, all the different experiences that come along with that. Because I can truly say, if you do not love your permanent hat, it's going to be difficult for you to really embrace those temporary roles, because you're going to feel like you're almost disappointing, those identities that that are permanent to you. So you've truly got to just embrace and love who you are. And I recommend surrounding yourself with people that look like you, hold these same identities as you. So y'all are able to kind of lift each other up and embrace and encourage each other. Next, we have boldness. So, like I said earlier, it would be kind of silly to wear two hats at the same time. Just imagine wearing a baseball hat to a semi formal wedding. That would take a lot of boldness, a lot of guts to do that. But that's what you're doing in real life. When you're walking into these spaces with these different roles, these different identities, people are going to look at you funny, but you've got to be bold and walk in there and be proud and truly embrace these differences that you have. And just walk into these spaces because you know that you're making them better by exposing them to things that they have not, been exposed to before. And the last thing you're going to need is courage. So I think we've all seen The Wizard of Oz before. So, we have our lion on the left. He was very scared. He didn't think he was brave. But we all know by the end of the movie, he found his courage. And it was actually it was inside of him all along. And I hope that you all can find the courage inside of you, just like the lion did. So it's going to take courage to walk into these spaces with these different roles. Let me tell y'all, it's not going to be easy. It's actually going to be really uncomfortable for you and the other people in the space. But if you're uncomfortable, that means that you are growing, and growing is important. It's not good to be comfortable, to be stagnant, and to just be complacent, and with things that are going on and with different spaces in your life and on campus. So, like I said, you're going to need that courage to walk into the room, with your permanent hat on. So I think one quote that really nicely sums up how I feel about this topic is, one of the challenges of wearing so many hats is that I love each and every one of them. And this was said by author Andrea Davis Pinkney. So I think this really just kind of sums up how I feel. I hold so many different roles, permanent and temporary. And let me tell y'all, I love each and every one of them. And I don't plan on giving up one for the other. I'm going to be embracing all of them at the same time. And I hope that is what all of you do as well. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, but when you embrace all of your hats at the same time, you are creating a more inclusive environment because you are diversifying these spaces that normally have not had people like you. In the past. So I leave you today that I just want to tell you, if you ever go somewhere, there's a sign on the door that says no hats allowed. I challenge you, do not take your hat off out the door. Confidently walk in that room with all your identities embraced and proudly on display. Thank you all so much.